Sorry. Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Garavsky.
Hello everyone, minu nimi on Dennis, mul on English. You can call me Dennis or Denis, sobib ka. Ma alisipin eesti keeles, as you understand. Yeah, today we'll talk about a topic which is not directly, at least, related to AI. At least I did my best to search for possible topics. I considered different things, and unfortunately, it was, I think, the only one realistic, not directly related to AI, but anyway. And I also chose this topic because of my personal motivation. It's related to Microsoft Teams. I'm not, just disclaimer, I'm not Microsoft employee. I just like this application because I think I started using it from early previews in 2016, and we are still using it, and I'm happy with it, even though I used all kinds of different applications like Slack, even Skype, and like Miranda, Quip, if you remember such dinosaurs. And we even used Skype for Business, God save me, because I think it was kind of developed when former Microsoft Skype developers took a vacation for a few years. But eventually, Microsoft Teams was born, and yeah. And in my presentation, I will refer to it often, but it's just important to understand that it's not specific to Teams or Slack or whatever. It just I will focus on general principles that we apply to communications in Teams, and also I will focus a lot on public channels, and I think there are different terms for that in Slack and some other applications, but the general idea is the same, that by like a public team, I mean some large department or unit, like product management chapter, support chapter, development chapter. And there may be like specific product teams, and by channels, I mean smaller units inside those larger teams. You can see on the right side, you can see channels devoted to accessibility, builds, localization, etc. And also by public channels, I also sometimes refer to tags, which are like even smaller bits. I mean, they are often done for particular work function, like documenting, maybe some specific product area, like UI or core, and you can see it on the left side. And also, what motivated me for this talk is that we are all in Estonia, and Estonia is famous for its X-Tear system, or X-Road, which known abroad, and which is currently used like in 20 plus countries around the globe. And one of the key principles of X-Road is that important information, data, is shared only once, and you don't need to repeat yourself, you don't need to waste time on resharing. And I even took a screenshot from official X-Road site, and here you can see in white that it talks about government. I mean, but if we think about it, government is not far away from like a company and organization. And when we talk about departments like, I don't know, tax department, health care, you know, police, it's similar to what we have in IT companies, like product management department, like some product team. So it's the same. And of course, instead of citizens, we have employees, which are somehow consuming this information. We also have, I mean, workers inside public departments. So there are a lot of similarities. And again, this principle of public communication applies, that you share information, important information, only once. You don't repeat yourself, because you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to. You have more important things than some routine tasks. Okay, and just a quick question to audience. How do you think this topic of public communication is related to AI? How do you think?
I know the answer, obviously, because I work for Microsoft.
Cheater.
Yes, because everything documented can be consumed by AI and referred to.
Exactly. You just read my slides, I think,
No, I didn't see them.
and I think many of you recently saw these memes of employees in different countries who are wearing cameras on their heads that are recording their work actions, because it's done on purpose, again, for documenting. And who knows where we will be like in 5-10 years. So maybe this picture is not far away. So for Microsoft, for organizations we are working on, public communications are important, because it's just more difficult. I think it's more difficult to process, consume private chats, you know, from legal and other perspective. But it's kind of a joke, but something still in it. Okay, let's talk about private or closed channels. Sometimes we refer to them like DM, direct messages, sometimes just private chat. And I just gave a few examples. I mean, the most popular example, when I think someone sends you just a private message asking about some, I know, function, API, I know, some topic, and this topic is like 99% it's non-sensitive. And I emphasize this, I will emphasize this during this conversation a lot, because for sensitive or secure information, different methods apply. And here we just talk about regular stuff which can be public. In other case, it's very similar to one-to-one conversation, when someone creates a private chat and adds you or your colleagues, and you start discussing it, some topic. It's the same as in principle, and also there is a variation of such conversations when, I don't know, someone knows about public channel, he or she posts in this channel, and just some obscure, incomplete information, then something happening behind the scenes. Maybe they call to someone, solve their question, and that's it, period. So the company or the team hasn't progressed, I would say. I mean, no information about results, etc. It just lost. And I just happened to have such a conversation just a few days ago. Of course, I blurred everything, but I just left the main sense, the main situation. So it's very typical. I think you will recognize your colleagues or yourself sometimes. So the situation, a colleague contacts me in private, asks about some feature or some product function. And before he already talked to another colleague when they had a coffee break. And this information from a colleague was insufficient, and he needs additional information from me. And I usually politely reply and do one of the two things. Quite often, the topic a person is asking has already been discussed, and we have some public channel, some wiki or whatever. So I just refer to this public channel and explain quickly what to do, why I do this, and just offer more help if required. And more help in that channel, because we will talk about it later. And quite often, now it's much less, but in the past, the person replied, oh, it's a public channel. I don't have time to formulate my request there. Maybe we can call quickly and you can explain me like in 5-10 minutes by video, the same topic. Yeah. And as you may understand, this is not the best end for this situation, and that's why I'm talking to you today. And that's because it's what's called information silos. I mean, when a lot of such private conversations are happening within an organization, eventually the information, important information, because people are at work normally, they are not just talking for fun, or they are talking about work problems. And eventually, if many conversations continue in private channels, company gets nothing. I mean, gets incomplete information, and instead of building up a company knowledge base. And we already touched earlier about AI, how this knowledge base can be used. We all also have, all companies have new employees, and so on and so on. So my talk is just to highlight those problems and discuss ways, better ways to solve problems and do it win-win for everyone, for organization, for teams, for yourself. And let's quickly run through the main problems of such private conversations just quickly. As I already mentioned a minute ago, we lose transparency, we lose learning, we lose this knowledge-based information, and it's harmful in many ways. It's harmful for new employees because when they encounter a similar problem, a similar question, they will have to solve it from scratch instead of building a knowledge base. It's also when we keep information in private, for teams, it's especially for big teams, or when we have cross-department communications, it's more difficult to exchange on the current status. Ideally, ideally, when we have information in public channels, I mean, all the information, typical weeklies or dailies may be significantly reduced or even made obsolete. It's, I think it's extreme thinking, but for some teams, I think it's very feasible. Also, when we keep information in private, I mean, we're also discussing not only just routine tasks, we're discussing new ideas, and it hurts innovation. I mean, because it stays in this silos island. Because when you share information in public, people look at it, they can give you feedback, it's valuable. They can also think, okay, this guy is using code, this guy is building agents, why I am not doing the same? So it's kind of a FOMO effect, you know, fear of missing out. I mean, it's also useful in such context because you are encouraged to try new things. And what else? Another cons is that cons of private communication is that you simply may be unavailable. I mean, a person contacts you, you're on vacation or sick leave or whatever happened to you. Yes, we have, I know, in Microsoft Office products and Teams in particular, we have status messages when we go on vacation. But even with this, we have situations when we moved on to another project, we are just not doing, we are not curating or are responsible for this area. And it's just better to contact another person, not you, because it involves multiple iterations and it's not free. And finally, it's just boring, as I mentioned in the beginning. I mean, we all have a lot of fun and more interesting tasks than just, don't know, referring people to the right channels. I mean, copying messages or because when someone contacts you, you typically, if you don't know the topic, you are no longer responsible. You need to find or suggest a person who is. And you add more people, you give them, feed them context, and it's just routine work that can be avoided. And it's also interesting that I am not alone with this thinking about public communications. And many years or decades ago, it was already built into, considered and built by other organizations, like I mentioned. I think great example is X-Road in Estonia, like a quarter of a century ago. It's also a known company, GitLab, which which emphasizes the importance of public communications. I don't know, like a few decades, at least 10 years for sure. And they even have it in, you know, in company cookbook values. I know that they even they went through the roof. I mean, they even tracking the number of private communications. I mean, they are encouraging their employees to minimize the number of such communications. So most of the work stuff goes to public. And there are some other companies as well, like Flowdoc, and you can also ask your colleagues, I mean, ChatGPT. And I also asked myself why it happens, and some other people already thought about it, because it comes down to our human nature often. I mean, this is a screenshot from Flowdoc site, and it talks about fears that we have when we decide to contact someone in private instead of public. For example, we are afraid that our message in public channel will distract others. Yes, it makes sense. If done improperly, it can indeed distract people. People can lose focus, but if done properly, we'll talk about it later. It's all feasible without harm. But another reason is that people are kind of also shy. They are afraid to just to speak up. They prefer, especially introverts, they prefer to keep a small circle. And also there is sometimes fear that like I have a bright idea and maybe it's 1 million idea and I should not share it. Okay. And now I wanted to talk against these fears and or rather how to avoid these problems. So first, I must confess that I personally, and I think many of us, even after this talk, we will be using private communications heavily. We have emails, we have sensitive topics like HR conversations, one-on-one conversations with our employees. We have security-related topics. So it's common sense, and it's just a screenshot from my teams. You can see here CEO, see something, HR. I even have some important, not many on purpose, private chats for coordination in some projects. Some key people or people I like to talk more, and there are also like 5+ one-on-ones with employees. So it's private. It's just common sense to keep it private. And what else that going public, it requires responsibility. I mean, it requires care, like anything in this world, and that's fine. It's like we discussed with AI that you are just not giving it permissions to, I don't know, delete your databases, files, etc. It's like with any tool. You need to understand its limits, its application, and use it properly. That's just common sense. And next, I just wanted to share my experience from the companies I worked in and just share some recipes, I mean, how not to go wrong with public conversations. Okay, first tip, it's, and I should make a disclaimer that I'm talking primarily about, I mean, large companies. I mean, for my case, when I joined the company, I think we had like numbers. I was like 68 or something, under 100. It was also like under 500. So you must understand that these principles and tips, they must be applied depending on your scale. Because I think for startups, I mean teams, small teams like 3-5 people, you don't even need, I don't know, most of these tips, and like you don't need your daily meetings, weekly meetings, because you have your peers, you have your GitHub, you are transparent by default. But here we talk about larger companies, and in them we have like cross-functional departments like development, products, tech writers, support, and 10 more. We also have teams for products, and it's important to consider this bigger structure, I mean at company level, how departments will interact, will they ever interact? And inside a team, when we go like product X, like what do we do? What we are responsible for? Development, okay. I know security, localization, support, documentation. So, and my first advice is don't complicate it from the beginning, because I had seen situations when there is a Teams channel and it has like a team, and it has like 25 to 30 channels. It's unmanageable, folks, because the cognitive load just to remember all these functions, I mean sub-channels, to understand how it's different from XYZ, it's a lot of work. will be just stuck, forget everything after a month or so. So first advice, tip, don't complicate. And if you try something, review regularly, like once in a year or so. Don't be afraid to delete some unused channels. Don't be afraid to restructure. What else? I think the most important question I get about this talk when I present within my company or someone else, it's about notification. So there is assumption that when you go public by default, you will be overloaded with notifications. And my tip is just notifications, like anything else, they're configurable. I personally have all my notifications disabled, and it's just default options, because if you talk about Slack and Teams, it's just a tool for asynchronous communication. I don't need to wake up or stand up every time someone mentions me, because we don't have, fortunately, thanks God, we don't have urgent tasks and, that require reaction after 1 minute, so it's not a phone call. And another tip is explain these principles, benefits, pros and cons to people who are you dealing with in your teams. What else? The rest tips are like, I would say they're like for Stack Overflow. I mean, like asking, in the past we used to ask questions on Stack Overflow, you know, on similar forums, and they're also like common sense. I think to me, to many people, I mean, it's just a code of conduct. I mean, things you don't do or things you do, like you don't mix multiple topics within a single thread. You create separate topics. You don't abuse general mentions, because you don't just cry for every message when you communicate with people. I mean, because sometimes people who doesn't recognize consequences, they can just go to general channel, do a general mention, and after this, like 200 people will be notified. We are not doing it in physical, I mean offline life. So why should we do it in digital life, in Teams or Slack, for example? It may be needed, but on very rare occasions, like some very important announcement, like acquisition or whatever. What else? We are also, I recommend that we, when we use public channels, we try to describe at least our goal, our problem, what we tried, I mean, like the homework we did. And we try to avoid so-called X-Y problem. It's when you start from, not from the beginning, but you are already very deep in rabbit hole, and you describe just the consequences you are dealing right now, and they may be not directly related to your original goal, because you must acknowledge that you may come to point B from A by doing C, D, E, and it may be different from what you were thinking originally. Sorry. What else? There are also basic tips like making your information accessible when you share links, ensure that authorized people have access to these links. I mean, make them descriptive, because it's a funny example. I haven't seen it recently, but in the past we used some homegrown ticketing system, not Jira, and people used to just paste plain text ID. And the person who needs to work with that should copy, manually paste it, hit enter, And it's a routine which can be avoided if you just pasted description with a URL and some additional information. And it's also interesting that people are sometimes complaining that, okay, folks, I posted in a public channel, here's the URL, and it's just plain URL. And it's, you know, I started that many problems come to our human nature. And for me, and I think for many of you, when you see some technical URL, not descriptive, you are not incentivized to click it. I mean, because it's not interesting. Because if you saw some keyword, catchy keyword, you had more chances to click it to reply faster. Okay, I will not stop much on it. I already mentioned sensitive information. There must be a separate procedure for dealing with security issues or some sensitive topics, because we are not going blindly in public with them. It's also sometimes it's still, even if you started in a public channel, sometimes it's necessary, just obligatory to go to, I mean, to talk to people, to have a call, to share your screen. I have like personal rule, or if I can call it, if a thread goes beyond like 15-20 messages asynchronously, it's just better to have a quick call and decide, solve the problem in more effective fashion and post the results back for everyone else. Another tip is regarding calendar events, appointments, because we often schedule meetings, and when you go, when you make it not in a public channel, just a regular meeting, you always end up with one more private channel, and it becomes more difficult to synchronize later. And my recommendation is just to make such appointments in your public channel, because everyone will see, can participate, comment later, so it's just regular post, public post. Okay, we are approaching to the end, and here I also have a short QA or FAQ. It focuses on negative effects. I mean, what people are afraid of when we talk about public communications by default. And I think the most popular fear is distracting people. Like I mentioned earlier, it's related to notifications. People are afraid that when everyone starts posting in public channels, they will be distracted. It's also everyone will be reading everything. And this fear has simple solutions. First, configure your notifications. Second, you should not be just reading everything. And it's important to understand that public channel communications, they are also used a lot for search. I mean, searching information in the future. It's like, I think it will resonate with developers when we search GitHub history. I mean, like, what was fixed, which ticket ID was referring to this commit. And with public Teams communication, it's pretty similar. They are used a lot, not immediately, but months, year after that. And having this information available publicly will help. And also, of course, it's important to use mentions carefully. I mean, I earlier mentioned the text feature of Microsoft Teams, when you can just configure a set of experts for a particular topic, people who are responsible, and you can just use that text instead of mentioning general or entire channel. We also, another problem is that we already touched a bit. It's about fear to look stupid. I mean, just people afraid to ask stupid questions. And it's not a problem at all, and it has a simple solution that it's, we are working as a team in one organization, and you are asking questions about work topics and to solve to deliver real business value eventually. And it's not, how to say, prohibited to ask questions. It's encouraged to ask questions. And leaders can also emphasize this a lot. I mean, by own example or by talking to people. I mean, I remember a real use case example. Last year, I worked with customer advocates department when we are rolling out a huge feature. And customer advocates were initially unfamiliar, I mean, with technical details of the topic. I mean, they were shy or hesitating to ask questions, and they had even a private chat for that. And we solved this problem with their leader, that we made additional trainings. We started making bi-weekly webinars where everyone could ask any questions. We also present improved documentation, and eventually it was a happy end. These customer advocates, they went to official public channel and even became experts behind one of those texts. So it's all solvable. Another problem that I hear often is, how to say, cloud irresponsibility. I'm just trying to translate from Russian, or in English, I think you may have heard it as a bystander effect. It's, the matter is that when you post in a public channel, just especially for like different team or department, there is an assumption that everyone on this team will just look at this message, read it, and wait for someone to respond. Yes, it may happen, of course, it may happen if this team has not discussed how to process external requests, how to deal with that. But it also has a simple solution that every team has a team leader, I know, engineering manager, whatever, responsible for this. And they are looking at this channel. They can direct this message to required person through a simple mention, I mean personal mention or tag mention. So it's just not difficult to implement properly. It's not rocket science. And another problem is, again, I will repeat it because just to ensure that you don't get me wrong about public communication. There are always exceptions. There are money talks, there are personal talks, cases when you need to share negative feedback. There are conflicts. We are all humans, but for this, you just use appropriate tools, like you use email, Jira, whatever. Teams is not different. And finally, I mentioned the problem of, how to say, of problem of documenting our decision making. I mean, it's important, it's just a general principle which is unrelated to Teams, Slack or whatever. It's just important to have this culture when team thinks about the future, thinks about future employees, future company processes, and makes like documents results of their discussions. Not everything, of course, must be documented. For persistent or important topics, we have public wikis, documentation sites. But at least for discussion that happened on Teams during the call is just best practice to post a resume. Just what we decided, what we considered. It's just a few messages, especially nowadays when everyone is using AI tools and they are superior at summarizing decisions even from voice. So it's not rocket science either. Ultimately, I can continue discussing more tips, more problems, but ultimately, when we talk about effective public communications, I think it comes to these root principles I mentioned in the beginning. You share important information only once, you don't repeat yourself. Again, developers will like it. And other principles is that you just think of it as a respect for other colleagues' time and also for your time, because you may be in the same situation. Next time you may be a new developer, employee in a new company, and nobody likes when there is zero information to get started. Everyone likes instructions and help. And about this topic, I think final note is that when I was surveying or interviewing people within my company about some of these problems, like especially the first one about the noise, about posts in public channels on different topics. You know, the most interesting thing is that nobody, really nobody, was against knowing more about how company is doing. I mean, how their team is doing, how some functional departments are doing, and people like it because it helps, again, it helps them with their own work. And that's it, I think. I will not touch other tips like, I don't know, information digests, dailies, weeklies. We all have them. And if you want to discuss further, you can find me on LinkedIn. And I also have this information more compact, structured on Medium. You can find it by this title. That's it. Thank you.
So, any questions?
Yes, please. Before I ask, there's a disclaimer that I totally agree with this stuff. But have you ever worked in any company with quite toxic environment, especially leadership?
My current company is one. No, I'm counting. It's like fourth company in my life, and as I mentioned, different companies, different sizes, different rules. Especially for me, it's a big difference when company is under 100 and it goes extremely fast to like a few hundreds. Yeah, I think I understand what you're talking about. I experienced that as well. I may even confess that I might be this person sometimes, and you especially can witness it yourself. I mean, in our IT subculture. I mean, in different forums like Reddit, Stack Overflow, and some others. Yeah, and it happens on different levels, employee and management as well. So yeah, and I think especially at the management level, it's more harmful because employees, they are like, you know, many of parents here, our kids, they derive our habits. And especially when a manager misbehaves, it may be seen like, oh, it's a culture. That's why I mentioned that it's in the presentation that it's kind of a culture topic. You need to foster this culture. I mean, normal culture, you should care about it. And it requires effort. And it's not a
agree, but the question was about mostly leadership. So if the leadership is toxic, probably you will not be able to change it.
Mhm.
And the experiment we had in my previous company, which I quit last year, new HR started to implement exactly the same pattern that you just described, with open communication and stuff
Mhm.
like this. And then employees realized that if you openly talk, then 90% you will be punished, maybe indirectly, maybe with feedback, whatever, and it goes from leadership and you cannot change it. Maybe in small groups you can keep it under control,
Mhm.
and what was the final result? Public communication stopped at all. I mean, they completely...
Because they fear.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to say that you missed one precondition, that if it is in the toxic environment, the experiment will fail.
I totally agree, and what you mentioned, I can relate to myself because I have I don't want to mention names, positions, but let's say that it's in management. And for me, especially a young employee, when I joined this company a lot of years ago, from his side was very helpful that he literally told to me, like, Dennis, if you see shit, for example, like a dick grows on my head, you are free to speak up and speak up about this topic. And I still carry it with me. I tell this story to many people. And because to me, he is like a firm or hard person still. But anyway, he listens, I mean, because shit doesn't go. We are all real people, we can look around, you know, we can leave companies, so. Thank you.
My question is about security, like in the code.
Yeah.
Usually you try to write private functions first, just to keep logic inside, and only if you want to expose something to others, you kind of expose public API
Mm-hmm.
in microservices, whatever.
Right.
Why not do the same approach if you see that there are some sensitive topics, and why not just keep everything private by default? This affects job security, you know, other thing. I'm just playing it.
Yeah, I understand, because there is also like a movement, like in 2 centuries ago, when they call it audits, or I don't know how to pronounce it in English, when they like when steam machines appear, or some factory machines, they try to distract them. And currently, a similar thing is happening around AI. People try to, in conversations, they try to use cryptic messages, I mean, only understandable by human beings. But again, we need to use common sense, you know. We need to understand, weight each topic, each discussions, and I focused on this too. I mean, not everything goes public. And it's like, a problem or a solution cannot be worse than a problem, you know, so there must be a balance. And to some topics, certainly this rule of public conversations doesn't apply by default.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're coming only from the perspective of knowledge, but this is also about culture. It's also about security, let's say, incidents happening, and you may want to create a channel. You didn't mention these, let's say, group channels that are still available to some.
I mentioned authorized. I mean, we talk here about authorized conversations. For example, we have also private group channels, like a security guild, I think. It was on my screenshot, and some others. And yeah, it makes sense, of course, and we have it.
Yeah, so what would be your policy in case there is, for example, an incident and you want to share API token of a user? Would you share it in these private groups or not?
You know, our conversation is recorded. I think our CSO will be watching, so I will reply this honestly. And we have a policy and procedure for such incidents. And I recommend it to every organization to have it as well. Hi.
Are you a product company or an outsourcing company, and what is the size of your IT department?
We are a product-focused company. We sell our products from 1998, like a lot. We
Skype?
no Skype, no Skype, unfortunately, from last year, yeah. And department size I mentioned, I would again say like generally under 500, but above 100 a lot.
IT department.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, developers. It's a developer-focused company. So 80% of people are developers. There are also like 10 products, like support department, a few dozen tech writers, like a dozen designers, and like just this scale. I don't mention exact numbers, but it's developer-focused company.
And what would be the max amount of people where this public channel thing would be possible and manageable? I mean, so that people would actually read those channels at least once a day, because there's just so much info.
I think you always should start from a problem or what you want to achieve ultimately, where you want to be. I mean, as I mentioned, for small teams, small companies, you may even not need that stuff at all. It's difficult for me to say the exact number. I can just maybe relate to some memories of founders. I mean, like when they said, like when we were like 20, 30 people, we all were sitting in like this small office and we had no problems. But when we turned 100, 200, all sorts of problems started to hit us. And we even didn't know that we came to this stage with all these departments, see something or whatever. It's just empirical, I think. It depends on your, again, organization, culture. So it's better to decide it within your company in each case.
I just guess this system works if you're a product company, but if you have departments where there are people who you haven't even seen after working for a couple of years in that place, then this system won't be working. I mean, our department is, I guess, 40 probably people.
Mm-hmm.
We have some public channels where everyone is in, and I just try to avoid it because there's just so much distraction there.
Yeah.
You don't even have notifications, but still, the info is always going on. You don't have time to even read it and keep yourself up to date.
Yeah, I understand, and the truth is that you may not need all this information, and it's okay. But it depends on your organization goals, and it just depends. I can also say that I have to interact with different organizations, like Microsoft, JetBrains, or Avalonia, or some others. And I also, you talk to different people, and in all these cases we try to structure our communication, because there are products, there are developers, different sets of, product managers. I mean, we also have different technologies, different products, and it just often, at least from my experience, often needs structure and transparency.
So, but how to process?
Wait.
Okay.
Let's say last question and yeah, finish.
So, thank you. So how to process stupid answers and lead level mistakes? Are they going to knowledge base?
Can you repeat the last part?
Repeat once more. So how to deal with stupid answers and the lead level mistakes? Is it going to knowledge base forever?
Yeah. I will clarify. I usually reply this way, and it's my own honest answer. I recommend everyone to remember when we were juniors. I remember my time perfectly, and I was stupid a lot, like for a year, maybe even more. And it's just, I don't know, we are working in organizations to achieve something. We have common values if we join this organization often. And you just don't send people go fucking RTFM, I mean, go through some wiki. You must have some onboarding programs often, you have HRs, you have to be just, I mean, after all, you must be a good human being, I mean, so you explain to people, you use patience, empathy, compassion, and just iterate, I mean, prioritize first things first, and I don't know. It's not going to AI bot or documentation for sure. Go ahead.
Do you have a channel to create channels?
No. It's like
How do you create a channel?
it's like an agent in Claude, agent to skill to create a skill.
So very last question. What to do with people who doesn't want to communicate at all, either with public channels or private channels, like introvert developers?
Yeah, I remember such cases, and I don't know why, but it's some coincidence that many of such people that I experienced in my life, their name is Boris. I don't know why, but it's just a matter of fact. And it depends on what you want on their value, I think, because we are all not always, I mean, 100% public channels, like, we are not perfect, so they are not perfect either. So depends on their value. You can talk to people. My, my biggest achievement with such a person, he has never ever used video calls, and we are in different countries. And my achievement, like 5 years ago, was to have a conversation or a video, and we solved the problem. So you can approach such people, and or otherwise you have leverage. I mean, eventually, management.
Thank you.